Separation is not punishment, it is protection for what remains.
Chapter 15 of the Book of Enoch closes a long and heavy sequence of judgment by introducing a concept that many profoundly misunderstand: distance. After rebellion has been addressed with authority, after the appeal has been denied without reversal, after the verdict has been confirmed beyond any possibility of change, heaven does not continue engaging with those who have been judged. It does not maintain proximity. It does not hover endlessly. It withdraws. It steps back. It creates space. It establishes separation. This chapter answers a quiet but deeply important question that has been building throughout this entire narrative. What happens next? What comes after judgment is finalized? What does heaven do once the verdict is sealed and the consequences are determined? The answer is not more confrontation. It is not continued argument. It is not endless debate or repeated warnings. The answer is separation, clean, decisive, permanent. This withdrawal is not abandonment in the negative sense. It is not neglect. It is not indifference to what happens afterward. Chapter 15 is not about anger that refuses to let go or bitterness that cannot release. It is about boundaries, about the necessary establishment of distance. Heaven does not destroy everything it judges. Sometimes, destruction is not the answer. Sometimes, the solution is removal of proximity. Influence is cut off at the root. Access is permanently revoked. Presence is withdrawn completely.
The holy ones do not remain where corruption persists without repentance.
The chapter opens with something unexpected and significant, a divine reassurance directed toward Enoch. He is called righteous. He is told explicitly not to fear. This sets the entire tone for what follows. What comes next is not chaos spiraling out of control. It is not disorder or confusion. It is order being finalized. It is structure being established. It is boundaries being drawn with precision. If you're beginning to understand how these chapters work together, how each one builds systematically on what came before, leave a comment below. Tell me what's clicking for you. Is it the progression from judgment to separation? The way heaven maintains order through distance? The structure behind what might seem arbitrary? Your insights matter here. They help me see what's resonating, and they create a conversation that helps everyone reading through these comments understand these ancient texts more deeply. Enoch is instructed to deliver a specific message to the watchers, and this message clarifies with brutal honesty a fundamental inversion that occurred during their rebellion. The watchers expected humanity to need them. They positioned themselves as necessary intermediaries, as essential guides, as required teachers. Instead, the reality now is that they need humanity to speak for them. They need a human mediator because their own voices no longer carry to heaven. Heaven corrects this confusion with absolute clarity.
You were not meant to be petitioners through men ever.
This statement is devastating in its simplicity. It strips the watchers of any remaining justification for what they did. It removes every excuse. It exposes the core lie of their rebellion. Their role was never to descend from heaven and intervene physically in human affairs. Their place was fixed in the spiritual realm. Their dwelling was eternal in the heavenly places. Their assignment was spiritual in nature, not relational with flesh and blood. The core of their failure lies precisely here. They abandoned their assigned domain. They left their post. They vacated their position. They stepped outside the boundaries that were never meant to be crossed by beings of their nature.
Separation exists because domains exist and must be maintained.
Heaven is not rejecting the watchers out of cruelty or vindictiveness or personal offense. It is enforcing structure. It is maintaining the order that keeps creation functioning. Spiritual beings belong in spiritual realms. That is their home. That is their sphere of authority and operation. Flesh belongs on earth. Humans are designed for the physical realm. When those domains merge unlawfully, when boundaries are violated, when the structure is ignored, Corruption follows inevitably, every time, without exception. Chapter 15 draws a line with absolute clarity, a line that cannot be crossed again. The separation is not temporary. It is not a cooling-off period. It is permanent. The text then introduces one of the most disturbing and complex consequences of the Watchers' rebellion, the fate of the giants' spirits. Though the giants were destroyed physically during the flood, though their bodies were eliminated from the earth, their spirits remain. These spirits are no longer embodied. They have no physical form, but they are not redeemed. They are not saved. They are not at peace. They become a new category of influence, something that did not exist before the Watchers' rebellion. These spirits are not Watchers. They are not angels of any kind. They are not demons in the traditional sense. They are the disembodied remnants of a forbidden union between spiritual beings and physical humans. They exist in between categories. They fit nowhere cleanly in the created order because they were never supposed to exist at all. If this revelation about the giant spirits is challenging your understanding of spiritual warfare, if you're seeing dimensions of scripture you never noticed before, hit that like button. It's a simple action, but it tells me this content matters to you. More importantly, it helps this message reach others who are searching for exactly this kind of deep exploration of ancient texts. Your light creates ripples that extend far beyond what you can see, connecting truth seekers across distances you'll never measure.
This is the cost of broken boundaries nobody anticipated.
These spirits are restless by their very nature. They cannot rest. They afflict. They oppress. They influence human affairs without bodies of their own. They do not hunger or thirst because they have no physical needs. They do not die because they were never fully alive in the way physical beings are. They are invisible to human eyes, yet terrifyingly active in human experience. Chapter 15 reframes our entire understanding of spiritual conflict. Evil is not always visible. Evil is not always an active rebellion in the present moment. Sometimes evil is residual. It is the consequence of past rebellion that continues echoing through time. It is the aftermath that persists long after the original perpetrators have been judged and separated. Separation does not erase consequences instantly. That is a critical understanding, but it prevents new consequences from being generated. It stops the bleeding, even if the wound takes time to heal. Heaven allows these spirits to persist until the appointed day of final judgment. This is not mercy toward the spirits themselves. It is containment. Their influence is limited by divine decree. Their power is restricted. Their time is counted. They are not free agents operating without restraint. They exist within boundaries, even in their restlessness.
Not everything unresolved is unrestrained by divine authority.
The chapter makes something else crystal clear, with language that leaves no room for misunderstanding. The Watchers themselves are no longer permitted to intercede on behalf of humanity, to teach any knowledge to humans, or to influence human affairs in any way whatsoever. Their separation is total, complete, absolute. They are cut off from humanity permanently. The connection is severed. The relationship is terminated. This is not abandonment of the Watchers in the sense of neglect. This is protection of humanity. Humanity cannot heal properly if corruption continues whispering in the background. If the Watchers maintained any access, any influence, any connection, the cycle would simply repeat. The corruption would rebuild. The damage would continue accumulating. Separation restores clarity to human experience. It removes the confusion. It eliminates the poisoned guidance. Divine distance is often misinterpreted by modern readers who have been trained to see closeness as the only expression of care. We assume that if God cares, he must be near. If he is distant, we interpret that as absence or disinterest. But distance is not absence. Distance is governance. Distance is protection. Distance is the maintenance of order.
When God separates, he preserves what needs preserving.
Chapter 15 teaches us that holiness requires distance from corruption. This is not optional, it is structural. Light does not coexist with darkness indefinitely, without one overwhelming the other. Truth does not negotiate with deception forever, without truth being compromised. At some point, proximity itself becomes destructive. At some point, continued connection becomes the problem rather than the solution. The Watchers lost proximity to humanity and to heaven because they abused it catastrophically. The giant spirits exist as restless influences because boundaries were violated in ways that created consequences no one anticipated. Humanity survives and has the opportunity to heal because boundaries are now restored and enforced. If you want to continue exploring these profound truths, if you're ready to go deeper into the Book of Enoch and discover how these ancient texts reshape our understanding of spiritual reality, subscribe to this channel now. We're going places most people never venture, into scriptures most churches never teach, into revelations that will fundamentally challenge and expand your theological framework. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. The journey ahead builds on everything we've discovered so far. This chapter also explains why the spiritual world remains complex, even after major judgments occur. Not all threats are active rebellions in the present moment. Some threats are consequences lingering after the original rebellion has ended. Some challenges are the aftermath rather than the event itself. Separation maintains the layers of spiritual order that were designed into creation from the beginning. Without separation between realms, without boundaries between domains, chaos returns. Structure collapses. Order dissolves. The message delivered to Enoch is firm but measured. Heaven is not panicking. It is not scrambling to respond to unexpected developments. It is organizing. It is establishing. It is finalizing the structure that will govern the next era of human history.
Order often looks like distance to those watching.
Enoch is not instructed to argue on behalf of the Watchers. He is not told to negotiate or to seek compromise. He is instructed simply to deliver the message as given. His role is complete. His function as mediator has reached its conclusion. His authority does not extend into reversing outcomes that have already been determined by higher authority. Witnessing ends where divine governance begins. Recording truth reaches its limit where sovereignty makes final decisions. This chapter closes the entire arc of the Watchers' influence over human history. From their initial descent from heaven, through their corruption of humanity, through the violence and chaos they unleashed, through divine judgment against them, and finally to this separation, the cycle is complete. Their story, at least in terms of active influence, is finished. What remains now is aftermath. What continues is consequence. What persists is the residue of choices made and boundaries violated. Separation prepares the way for the future chapters of Enoch, which will shift focus dramatically from immediate judgment to long-term consequences, from present reality to prophetic visions, from earthly events to cosmic timelines that stretch far beyond human comprehension. History can now continue its forward march without the interference of the Watchers. The corruption they introduced has been contained. The knowledge they shared cannot be unlearned, but new corruption will not be added. The damage has been stopped even if the healing takes generations. Heaven steps back from active confrontation, not because it no longer cares about human affairs, not because divine attention has moved elsewhere, but because order has been restored to a point where continued proximity would serve no purpose. The work is done. The verdict is sealed. The separation is established.
Presence is powerful, but distance can be merciful.
Chapter 15 leaves us with a sober and mature understanding that challenges easy assumptions about relationships and divine action. Some relationships must end for life to continue healthily. Some access must be permanently revoked for peace to remain possible. Some separations are the final act of mercy, the last gift that can be given when continued connection would only perpetuate harm. Heaven does not hover endlessly over what it has already judged. It does not rehearse the same confrontations repeatedly. It does not maintain connection where connection has become toxic. It separates. It withdraws. It establishes distance. And in that separation, the world is given room to breathe again. Humanity is given space to heal. Order is given opportunity to reestablish itself across generations. You made it through another profound chapter of the Book of Enoch. You walked with me through the theology of separation, through the complexity of spiritual consequences, through the sobering reality that some distances are necessary for survival. If this message resonated with where you are in your own journey, if you feel like these truths about boundaries and separation speak to something in your life right now, drop a comment saying, "I understand the distance." That simple phrase tells me you're tracking with this material, and it encourages me to keep going deeper into these texts that most people avoid because they are uncomfortable. There's another video waiting right here that continues this journey. Chapter 16 takes us into new territory, showing us what happens when separation is complete and prophecy begins to unfold. Click that next video and keep walking this path with me. The journey is far from over. I'll meet you there.
Walk with me forward. The consequences of separation shape everything that follows.